You wanna be the very best, but don't know how to rank. To teach you is my real test, how to get loads of CP. Hello, my name is SB, and as you saw, I am not a singer, but I do teach people how to play competitive Pokemon. More specifically, I teach beginners how to play competitive Pokemon. I'm uniquely qualified to do this because I'm kind of a beginner myself, actually. I'm just slightly less new than most of the people watching this video, which means I can take everything I've learned over the past year and share it with you to make your life easier and to help you learn VGC faster. I'm not someone who learned all these things a decade ago and trying to remember the struggles of a new player. I actually know the challenges that you're facing, and I know the content that you need, which is why I'm here making these videos. And today we are talking about how to earn CP and how to get ranked in competitive Pokemon. Brief side note, if you do want me to embarrass myself and cover a full Pokemon song, I'll do it at like 10,000 subscribers if this video has like 500 likes at that time or something like that. I have no shame, so I'm not scared. I'll cover Misty's song at 50,000 subscribers or something like that. Real ones know that song is a banger. Back to the point of this video, what even is CP? Well, it stands for championship points, and it's the points you collect from competing at official events. The better you do at these events, the more championship points you get, and the more championship points you get, the higher your rank is in competitive Pokemon. Just a heads up, the list behind me is very likely to change after the Baltimore Regional this weekend, which you should watch if you want to get better at Pokemon VGC. Make sure to check out the official Pokemon YouTube channel for that. Before we can even get into the types of events that you can earn CP at, I think we need to cover the steps you need to do before you can even think of earning any CP. The first step that you absolutely must do is to make a Pokemon Trainer Club account. You can do this by Googling Pokemon Trainer Club and clicking on that very first link that pops up. Then you'll click create an account and you'll follow those very simple steps. It will ask for things like the country you live in, your date of birth, and you'll have to make sure to accept both the terms of service and the privacy notice to continue. It'll also ask for a screen name, which is going to be used a lot, so I would make sure to make it something that you're okay with being associated with, especially because it's going to be associated with you and your real name, so try to make it something appropriate. Make sure to also keep track of your username. This is different than your screen name, but both are very important, so make sure to keep track of both of them. Your username will be used if you ever get locked out of your account or you ever lose your password to this account. You also need to make sure you are using a real email and not just a funny haha email like the Krabby Kingler King 97 or something like that, because they're going to send a verification code to create the account and finish the process here. So make sure you're using a legitimate email and not just a funny one. Don't steal mine. After you follow the super simple steps to create a profile on this website, you need to make sure to link your Nintendo account. They make it pretty easy by having it right here on the main page. If you do not link this account, any points that you gain when your Nintendo account is not linked is just going to be lost into the nether. It's not going to exist anymore. You're not going to be able to claim them. Make sure to link your Nintendo account if you want to claim these points and actually get a ranking. It's pretty simple. Again, it's right here on this main page. You just click on that. It's going to ask for your date of birth. In the top right corner, there's going to be a details button. Make sure to click that and make sure that it's you. I'm not able to do it because I've already done it with my Nintendo account, but you want to make sure that those details match up before you hit OK, because it's a real headache to try and reverse it. It's a whole process of getting through customer service and all that. Just check the details and make sure to link this Nintendo account. Once you've done it, you should get a message like, congratulations, you're all set up, or congratulations, your account's been linked, or something like that. I'm not sure what the verbiage is. This step is so important that Victory Road's official page even tweeted out a reminder about it because there's so many events coming up. So please just do it. Don't forget to do this. It's a very important step. Next, you need to create an actual Play Pokemon account. This is the part of the Pokemon company that controls the leaderboards and CPs and events and all the official competition stuff. So you want to make sure that you have an account here. It's right below link your Nintendo account. So you want to go down to the bottom of that list, click on the Play Pokemon button, start filling that out. You want to make sure that you select that you want to do video game championship. You want to make sure to clarify yes that you do want to opt into this stuff, and you want to make sure that you're asking for a new player ID because these player IDs are super important to get into official events. Trust me. That player ID number is so important. You actually can't register for events without it. It's how you register for events. It's how they track you at events. You need to make sure that you have this player ID number. Screenshot it, write it down, print it off and laminate it, whatever you have to do. Just make sure that you have this player ID number. A card is actually a really good idea and they help you print that off on that website. So again, print it off. They're making it easy. Take the help. Congrats, you've done all the steps that you have to do to start earning CP, but what events can I go to? How do I find them? What are my options when it comes to doing the play Pokemon competitive scene? I'm glad you asked. Let's start with the smallest level of event known as leagues, either league challenges or league cups. You'll hear many experienced players refer to them as locals because they are challenges and matches that you would play at a town or a state level. These are smaller events that are typically like 5 to 20 people. They can be a little bit more, they can be a little bit less, but typically it's a great place for new players to get started because you would travel and start competing in best of 3 matches with people in your area. It's a great way to meet friends in the scene, a great way to learn from other people that have been doing it for a while, and a great way to dip your toe into the competitive scene and just get a little bit of CP before you go to a big competition like a regional or an international. These league challenges and league cups are held in all different variety of places, but a lot of times they're held at video game stores and card stores and memorabilia stores and things like that, places where people would typically go to do card competitions like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon TCG, or in this case, Pokemon VGC. But SB, I've lived here my entire life and I've never heard anyone talk about a place to play competitive Pokemon, and I have no idea where to even find a place like that if it's around me. Well, I'm here to help. Again, this one is also pretty simple. You will go to the My Play Pokemon page on your account that you've just created, and you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. There will be a tab that says Leagues, and it will likely say, you have not participated in a league, which makes sense. That's what you're learning to do here. So you will click find another league, and it usually will just put in the address that you're at or the location that you're at, but I don't want to dox myself. So I'm going to say that I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to set the distance that I want to this distance here, and I'm going to select video game competition, and then I'm going to apply that filter, put where I live, and then I'm going to search for leagues. And here are a good list of leagues that I can take from and start learning from. I can see which dates work for me. When I see one that I'm interested in, I click, I scroll down, I look at the entry fee. Sometimes it's $5, sometimes it's $10, depends on the league. And then I go down to the contact, and getting a hold of this person is how you're going to get involved in this league. You can email them, you can text them, or you can visit the website if they've linked that. It's pretty handy. And then once you start getting involved in that, they'll get your player ID, they'll get your information from you, you can compete, and you can actually start earning CP at a local level. Now, if you're on this website and you have done everything that I've said and you're like, I can't find a league, or there's one near me, but it's 80 miles away and I don't feel comfortable traveling 80 miles. Well, you might have to take a little bit of initiative yourself. If you have a card store that you enjoy going to, if you have a video game store that you enjoy going to, ask them if they would be interested in hosting a Pokemon League. They can apply for it on the website, and then they can become an official Pokemon League spot where you and your friends can then go. If you have 8 friends that'll meet there every Saturday or Sunday or Tuesday night or whatever, and will meet there and play a game there, chances are that the store owner will be pretty interested in hosting you and your friends, because that's 8 people in the door automatically. And a lot of times you win things like store points or store credits that you're able to then spend at the store. So the store is kind of getting a win-win out of it. So take that chance if you can't find a league around you. And if none of that works, if you couldn't convince your store owner, or if you just can't find a league, there's nothing around you because you, like me, live in a very rural area of America, you might have to do the next step up of event, which is known as a global or grand challenge. These are completely online tournaments, so there's no communicating with other people. There's no driving into a different league. There's no having to communicate with people you don't know. You can just earn CP while sitting on your couch. It's a really good option. They do unfortunately take a couple days to complete because people from around the world are playing. So you need to make sure to block out a couple days worth of time if you think you're going to get far in the tournament. There is a difference between global and grand challenges. Global challenges are for the entire world to play in, while as grand challenges are only for countries that the Pokemon Company International operates in. I don't have an effective list. I know there is one on Google, but there are some countries that won't be able to participate in grand challenges while they can participate in global challenges. And again, you must have a Pokemon Trainer Club account and be in the Play Pokemon program to compete in these events, which is the things that we covered earlier in this video. The first grand challenge for this year's VGC competition is actually this month on September 19th through the 22nd, and they usually open up registration about a week before the event. So if you're good at math, you know that registration is open right now. I will be putting a link to the things that are behind me down in the description, as well as the link to the registration for the Grand Challenge coming up in just 1 week. The next step after global and grand challenges are called regionals. These cover much larger areas than locals, but they are still in-person tournaments. For example, we have the Baltimore regional coming up this weekend, which covers a lot of the northeast part of America. And next month, we have the Louisville, Kentucky regional, which covers a lot of the southern states and some of the Midwestern states, for people to fly into and drive into and compete against hundreds of other people at this event. I hear there are going to be a lot of cool people at the Louisville, Kentucky regionals. So if you know someone that's going to be at the Louisville, Kentucky regional, stop and say, hey, ask them how they're doing. They're probably pretty scared and not doing too well, and it's probably pretty hard on them, okay? You generally have to register months in advance for a regional, and this is handled by the RK9 Labs website. You're going to have to probably travel to the regional. You have to pay the registration fee. You probably have to have a hotel room for at least 1 night because it's an in-person 2-day event. So the cost of going is a bit more than the other 2 forms of events. Ask my wallet if you need proof. But if you compete at a good level and you get a high ranking at these tournaments against hundreds of other players, the CP you get is much, much higher. One more time, when you created a Play Pokemon account earlier in the video, you got a player ID number at the top of your Play Pokemon page. Make sure that you have this. You need this to register for any regionals and internationals. You need to make sure you know this, and you have to have it the weekend of the tournament too. Again, such an important number. Print it out. Keep it on you. It's so important. You remember in my first video when I said you needed to follow people on Twitter like Victory Road and RK9 Labs? Well, I'm going to reiterate that fact because it is so important. I would never know when to register for events if it wasn't for Victory Road and RK9 Labs sending out reminders. They tweet ahead of time when the registration is going to be, and they tweet when the registration goes active, which you need to move fast if you want to get into a lot of regionals because a lot of people are clamoring to get those couple hundred spots. So again, follow these pages. Turn on notifications. They'll tell you when to register and use the links that they offer. They make it really easy. Again, super important to follow people on Twitter. Highly recommend those 2. Another important thing to note is there are other payouts besides CP at almost every level of these events. At the league level, a lot of stores will give you store credit, which you can then use if you're like me to buy Pokemon cards and then rip them open and take out the ones with the pretty art and put them in a nice binder and shove them underneath of the desk that you record this YouTube video on, so that way you can stare at all your pretty art every once in a while. If you compete at the global or grand challenge level, you get league points, so you can spend those in game. You get things like bottle caps, you get ability capsules sometimes, I think. If you compete at the regional or international level, the reward that you get besides CP is cash money. Real dollarinos, okay? So if you win the NAIC, if you get number 1 at the North American International Championship, you get 15,000 real dollars, real American dollars. So make sure that you are registering for these things because there's more rewards than just CP. So, and international championships pay out a ton of CP and money. Oh, look at that. A natural segue into the international section. Internationals are similar to regionals, except for everything is much, much bigger. There's more top level players competing. There's more people in general competing. There's more money to win. There's more CP to win. It covers a much larger area. The Latin American International Championships, LAIC, is happening in November, and it covers all the Latin American region. North American International Championships, NAIC, covers all the North American region, and so on for Europe and Oceania. All kinds of people will be flying from all around the world to compete at these. They have hundreds and hundreds of people there. The competition is tough, but it is so fun to go to. They are much larger scale and much more impressive to compete at. Because the competition is bigger and the competition is harder, the prize money is bigger, and so is the CP payout. If you win a North American International Championship, you will get a whopping 500 CP, which again, comparing to the list that is behind me right now, getting 500 CP from one event is kind of a big deal. Competing at internationals not only pays you CP and money and other things, you also can get travel awards if you are trying to get paid to travel to the World Championships. Registration for internationals is going to follow the same vein as regionals, so again, follow Victory Road and RK9 Labs on Twitter Make sure to pay attention to when they're tweeting it out. Make sure that you have your player ID code. Make sure that you are ready to register the day that registration becomes open, because regionals and internationals fill up so fast because they are such a fun time and they're such a cool meeting place for fans of Pokemon. When you go to a regional or an international, it's actually more than just competing and earning CP. You are able to be around a bunch of other fans of the same thing that you like. It is such a cool experience, even if you are only able to go as a spectator, which is an option for regionals. I went to a regional last year just as a spectator, and I got to meet so many cool people. There are vendors there selling plushies and cool Pokemon cards, and it's just so cool to be immersed in the Pokemon world because everything there is Pokemon. People are just talking about Pokemon. You get to see all the cool vendors. You get to talk Pokemon with all these cool people. You get to see people that you might watch on YouTube. Like I've seen Moxie Boosted at an event before. I've seen Purple Cliff at an event before. It's very cool to go to these events and get to see people like Woofy, get to buy plushies that you get to remember, and to meet new friends and meet other people. I highly recommend you go to a regional or an international if you're not competing even as a spectator. And you might be asking, why do I want to earn all this CP? Why do I want to get a high rank in competitive Pokemon? Well, earning CP and getting ranked is how you get an invite to the Pokemon World Championships. Last year, the World Championships were in Hawaii, and the next 2 years, they are going to be in California, in Anaheim, and San Francisco. You have to do well at these competitions and get CP if you want to get invited to Worlds. Last year, all you had to do to get an invite to the World Championships was get 500 CP, which a lot of people were able to do because 500 CP wasn't too far out of the reach for someone who competes a lot, but that caused a lot of people to then go to the World Championships, so they are lowering that number down, and you have to either win a regional, get top 4 at one of the international championships, or be one of the top 75 ranked players to get an invite to Worlds this year. So if you're thinking that maybe you want to get to Worlds this year or in the future, it looks like you might have to be one of the 75 best players in the world. And there you have it. That's all the ways to earn CP and get ranked in competitive Pokemon. Make sure to make your Pokemon Trainer Club account. Make sure to link your Nintendo account to it. Don't forget your player ID. Follow Victory Road and RK9 Labs on Twitter. Make sure to find a league. You'll make some friends. You'll meet people that you might be friends with for a lifetime. Do a global or grand challenge where you can earn CP without ever leaving your couch. Go to a regional and international. You get to buy things from vendors, be immersed with other Pokemon fans, cheer when someone hits a big crit, or boo when someone misses an attack. You get to really immerse yourself with these people. You get to have cool conversations, and it's a great, great way to build your community. Compare yourself to friends and see where you rank against the best of the best in Pokemon VGC. Thank you so much for watching. My name is SB, and I will be back when the tide rises. Stay blessed.